Woo! We are live. It's Wine Wednesday.
That was quick. There you go. Canadian wine lovers.
I have to say, I would be reaching for the red right now if I didn't know this is Sue-Ann Staff 2019 Riesling in my glass.
Canadian wine lovers, Carl's Wine Club members, happy Wine Wednesday. Here is an exciting week at Carl's Wine Club. We have a little bit of a recap for you, recapping some of the highlights of our Pan Canadian Masterclass, but also highlighting some of the best Rieslings in Canada. We have Sue-Ann here, Sue-Ann Staff from Niagara, in the green room waiting to come live because this week we are featuring some back vintage Rieslings all the way back to 2008. Fucking right, Mira Boucher, 2008. How freaking exciting is that? Right?
Very exciting. And I have to say, at Carl's Wine Club headquarters, since it's Wine Wednesday, I should share, we got the sink fixed. It's been one of those Wine Wednesdays for me, that's for sure. And I have to say, Wine Enthusiast has been putting out some pretty interesting guides lately. How to pair wine and ice cream. Look at that. They're saying lemon sorbet and off-dry Riesling. I bet that's true.
There you go. That's what we need.
One way to tell.
That's what we need. Un beau bonjour à tout le monde en français, à tous nos amateurs de vin francophones de la belle région de Québec, de toutes les régions francophones du pays. On vous dit un beau mercredi soir. C'est Wine Wednesday. Ce soir, on reçoit Sue-Ann Staff, qui est la reine du Riesling au Canada, une des meilleurs producteurs de vin. Elle est située dans la région de Niagara, l'escarpement de Niagara. Je veux dire, on a fait des Riesling absolument exceptionnels. Cette semaine, à Carl's Wine Club, on présente des Riesling de Sue-Ann jusqu'en 2008, sur les millésimes 2008, 2011, 2018, 2019, de sélection parcellaire de Sue-Ann, toutes ratées des 94 et 95 points, des vins incroyables. Donc, on est super excités d'avoir Sue-Ann avec nous cette semaine. On vous dit un beau bonjour, puis on va commencer l'entrevue super. Here you go, a little bit of French here just to start. But Mira, how's your week so far?
Oh my gosh.
I know, it's a lot to ask.
I like what Marcel Morgenstern and his team at Burnship put out today. Wine Wednesday is like a holiday in the middle of the week.
I love it. Hey, I want to see everyone, if it's cutting off tonight, if we lose you, it's not because our technology is not working well today. We're in a severe thunderstorm warning here, and it's pounding out there. The thunder is absolutely crazy. Thunder and lightning out there. So if we lose everything, I apologize. Mother Nature is mad tonight. Really, really mad. So that's a little bit of what's happened. So, hey, how about we jump in right away? Because few things here, and we're going to tell everyone, but like we have so much to talk with Sue-Ann, and I mean, I have a better usage of her knowledge than to have her in the green room. How about that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay. Let's bring Sue-Ann Staff on. She is the queen of Riesling, and we want to talk about Riesling.
Freaking she is. Absolutely. Woo-hoo!
Oh, well, okay. Hey, I'll only be the queen of Riesling if we can crown a few kings as well. Like, I'm thinking of my good friends over at Vineland Estates Winery and Cave Springs. I don't want to share the love. So, yes, I'll be the queen if they can be the king.
Well, you know what? I'm up for that. As long as you get the title of the queen, I don't care who else get the king the king crown. As long as you get the queen title, I'm fine with that. Sue-Ann, good evening. Well, good evening for you. It's 8:00 Eastern time. Great to have you on. Thanks a million for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's fantastic. It's been a pretty tumultuous day here in Niagara. It's been a day of all four seasons, with it being hot and humid to start the day off, and then caught in a rainstorm in the middle of the day. And then it's like the temperature dropped like 10 degrees in the last 2 hours. So it's a crazy day out here. Wow. So you'd rather be out there in the Kelowna with you guys instead.
Let's put something straight here. You guys came out here in BC. You spent 4 days in the Okanagan. You brought the cold with you, okay? So because when you guys showed up, it went from 28 degrees to 12 degrees, okay? So that's fine. When you left the cold here. You didn't go back with it. So we just sent it back to you, okay? So where is it's payback here?
I guess so. I was amazed at how chilly it was when we were out there. I never wore shorts once. It was all, pants the whole time.
I know, it was crazy. It was crazy. Hey, let's start with that, okay? Because you guys came over here for a special event. You were one of the panelists at the Pan-Canadian Masterclass hosted at Hester Creek a couple of weeks ago. What was your impression of the event?
Oh, bravo. What amazing energy. Everyone's so engaged and everyone just soaked up that energy and soaked up the love. I loved how everyone, like the audience was so committed the whole entire time. Like they were engaged. They were like waiting for every word that we said type thing. It was incredible. I love the camaraderie as well between the winemakers. I love the banter between the winemakers most out of everything. I think hopefully that's what everyone else enjoyed as well. That was my favorite part. So what the best part was showing the depth and breadth and the quality and how amazing Canadian wine is. And kudos to you and Mira for just living it and breathing it and putting the energy behind it. And we do it in the cellar. We do the best we can every day in the cellars, but to get that message out and to get people believing it and singing the same song is a challenge. And so thank you for putting such another amazing commitment behind telling that story for us.
I mean, it warms my heart because, you never know exactly what you're going to get, right? You bring everybody in, and thanks and kudos to you guys to make times in your schedule and travel across the country for 4 days. But you never know it. You never know what can go wrong and this and that. But everything, I think, it was so amazingly everything from every angle was super smooth. We're really, really blessed. And I mean, you mentioned the crowds were so engaged. How that happened? 4.5 hours. Maybe the maître de cérémonie, the MC guy went a little overboard with his timeline, but everyone was
not possible.
I know. Hey, I know.
Who would have guessed that? Okay, Carl, that is one of my favorite parts of the day when I sat down and in front of the panelists, there was like a piece of paper, it was like this, let's say, and for people to know. And then here's all the times, and here's who's going to speak when. And I looked at it and went, not a chance, not a chance. And I was spot on.
Yeah, you sure was spot on.
People have a lot to say, right? There's so much to talk about. There's so much to mention across Canada, and you've got so many questions, and they're all so relevant. And so you just draw it out of us, right? So we're happy to tell the story. You're happy to ask the questions, but the people are excited to hear the stories as well. And so it was a win-win-win. It's 3 boxes ticked off because everyone had just a fantastic time. I mean,
it was amazing. It was so happy. And now the great news is the 2025 edition has been scheduled. And guess what? I think if the people don't know, now they have to know that you are the host of the 2025. Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? And the funny part is I saw the million notes that you took throughout the whole event. And you tried to hide the little piece of paper, but you took so much notes, right? It was amazing. I mean, we're so excited to bring the 3.0 now, the 3rd edition to your place in Niagara. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. We already had our first planning meeting this morning. So, I mean, chasing our tails for so many years that now we're prouding ourselves to be ahead of the game to offer Carl's Wine Club members and all Canadian wine lovers who wants to travel for a very, very, very unique and special event. But now they know June 25th, 2025 at the winery on the Vinemount Ridge appellation in Niagara Escarpment.
Yeah, it'll be a fantastic day. We love it. We have a beautiful marquee tent that overlooks a 2-acre pond. You have vineyards on one side and grass on the other. So it's a stunning location. We typically host weddings and other events, other corporate events. So this will be a really nice, refreshing twist. Beautiful. Oh, wow. Last time you were here, we had the chiffon lining up inside the tent too. Fancy, squishy. It has 3 crystal chandeliers inside and these the French window paneling on the sides. And we'll get Vintage Inns, who are some of the top caterers in the area. They own all the swishy hotels in Niagara on the Lake, like Prince of Wales and Queen's Landing. They also own and manage on the 20 in Jordan, plus a whole host of other hotels. So we'll have them on board too to make sure we have a little bit of some food along the way as well. So
yeah, I can't wait. It's already and the meeting we got this morning, there's so many great ideas coming up. So making it a 3 to 4 day event for our people who wants to travel. I think we already have like 25 people reached out to us, say, hey, we're part of it next year. We're coming. So I'm like, my God, we might sell out before Christmas here.
Perfect.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome. So, and we have lots of room. I guess that's the thing too, is you have room for, well, as many as you like, Carl. We'll talk about those numbers, but it's 3,600 square feet. So we've got room for everybody. And hope to make it.
And you know what?
We will make it a great event.
No need to move 700 barrels out of the cellar to bring 100 people in, because the team at the Hester Creek this year, oh my God, what a job, what a tour de force Mark Hopley and his team accomplished. And the room looked pretty darn freaking fantastic. I would like to give them a shout out again to all the team, what they did at Hester Creek. But yeah, no, we're planning and we're ready to give more details soon for the 2025 with you, Sue-Ann. We're so pumped. Now let's talk it, because on the aftermath, your Riesling, we're joking about Queen of Riesling and all that, and all of the title and the crowns and all that. But I mean, since you started in winemaking, Riesling has been something that has a very big part of your portfolio. It's part of your passion. Can you tell us a little bit, how has that love for Riesling came to you, or where is everything started?
Well, it's interesting because when I started my career, I was 10 years at Pilotary Estate Winery. And so, known for the ice wines and for the big, bold, powerful red wines that I made. Well, in the background, I knew that I was an escarpment girl, and knew that on our property here on the escarpment that my family's had in our family for over 200 years, that Riesling would be the claim to fame, which is a complete contrast. You compare zippy, bright, fresh Rieslings to, big, opulent Cabernet Franc, Cabernet Sauvignon. They're all the opposite end of the spectrum, right? So how could the same person make those wines? And so it was a bit of a struggle when I started the winery, because it was a new reputation, a new forge to go along. And I do have to say, the Cabernet Franc from this property is stunning and sensational.
Absolutely.
That's topic for another day. But the Rieslings are truly in a class of their own. And, writers around the world have seen that. It's been shown at master classes. Actually, this is a point at the Pan-Canadian Wine Challenge that we just had at Hester Creek. I made mention that, it's been served all over the world at master classes in Hong Kong and Berlin, Copenhagen, and finally we had a master class in Canada, and it was served in my own country. How about that?
I know. This is one of the crazy things. That's what we talk at the Bank Canadian. All of these beautiful meetings in Japan, in Berlin, Amsterdam, Denmark, and all over the world. Oh, Hong Kong and Taipei, but Canada, no, because it's very complicated to bring Canadian somewhere in Canada. Jesus.
It is so complicated, and just when I think it's getting simpler, a new wrinkle changes, and yes, that one thing has changed, but really it's still kind of the same. So it is so frustrating for all of us that just want to have some good grog, for God's sakes. How crazy
exactly.
from our
And
own
that
country.
and I mean, like the 2019 Roberts Block has showed so well at the Pan Canadian. People were like, holy crap. Especially because I would say here in BC, we don't have a whole lot of Riesling house. We don't have a whole lot of people who are focusing on Riesling. And it was a breath of fresh air for these people to get that zing, that zippy, but also that flinty escarpment minerality that we don't find around here. And so working around that, we went back into your portfolio on the aftermath of the Pan Canadian and going with the 19, the 18, who was one of my absolute favorite Roberts Block, the one who really got me to your portfolio, like something that really, really clicked. And also the 2011 and the 2008 Riesling, alongside your value proposition of the Love by Lou 2019 and 2020. We'll talk about the 2020 in a few minutes because this little 1995 wine keeps bringing award and freaking medals and trophies all from all over the place. It's crazy. Everyone is going crazy for Love by Lou 2020. We'll chat about it in a few seconds. I want to focus about Roberts Block, okay? Because that's what makes the core of your Riesling. This is a single vineyard on your property. Can you talk a little bit more? So Vinemont Ridge appellation, what makes Vinemont Ridge special for Riesling? And let's talk about the Roberts Block in particular.
Okay, so the Vinemont Ridge would be a little. It's actually the biggest appellation in Niagara. How it probably had the fewest number of wines in it, I guess, is where it's going. So it's just on the very top of the escarpment, runs along the top of the escarpment, and so you have some interesting property here because it's typically hard clay on the side of the peninsula, and so that means the vines really struggle. When I look at the size of our vines versus some of the other ones down in Niagara Lake, for instance, where they may have more sand, the vines are so big and so lush and so gorgeous. Because of the clay, it promotes smaller vines and hence smaller berries and hence a lot more flavor because of that skin contact. So it's a really special part of the world. When you're looking at premium Rieslings, they really do start here on the top of the escarpment and then go due west from here. So you'd hit, let's say, the Nadia's vineyards from Flat Rock Cellars, and then jump over Victoria Avenue, and you'd have the St. Urban's vineyards of Vineland Estates and the CSV vineyards of Cave Springs Winery. And these are all like top-notch, world-class Rieslings that that you can't find elsewhere. It was interesting. I head to Pro Wine in Germany every year to pour, and Pro Wine is one of the biggest wine shows in the world. Everyone comes to that show to see what the world has to offer. It's trade only, so so I have a booth that's all of like 4 feet wide or 4 feet long, and 2 feet wide, and it makes absolutely no.
Why you don't have these big corner booths like Gerard Bertrand has, like that quadruple booth in the corner with neon and all? No? Okay.
So if this is like the whole show, my impact is okay. There's a little dot down here at the bottom of the page. That's my impact of the show, and so it's very humbling, and you suddenly realize how much of a little fish you are in this huge pond. In previous years, when I took my Riesling to Germany, it was crazy because it was like, what am I doing taking Riesling to Germany? Like the motherland of Riesling. Like, that's crazy. And the reaction I got from Germans at the show, because I mean, while everyone is from all over the world at the show, probably 30% of the people at the show are German. And so, this swirl, sniff, taste, like, nice effort. Good job. Well, now, like the difference now, like with the advent of climate change, this year when they're tasting the 2019 Roberts Block, they were like, wow, remember when we could make Rieslings like this? And it just, like, it blows up my mind that in the years of COVID, that's how much the world of Riesling has changed. That we are in a really lucky spot where we have the cool climate and we have the heat and we have all the perfect part. We have the water, we have the soil, we have the escarpment, and we can pull it off. to the point where even the Germans are like, wow, this is good stuff. This is what we wish we could do now. So like, that's interesting commentary. Very interesting.
Very, very interesting. And 2019 was a cooler vintage in your area. So for the style of Riesling that you are making, are you more shooting for a cooler vintage, or you need big heat unit? Which one are you guys, you're wishing for year in and year out?
Yeah, so it's funny, like it's a bit of an oxymoron here, because I'm as a winery, as a winemaker, you're always like looking for heat and intensity and body, which is what I really want for the Cabernet Franc. But the winemaker in me that wants to make really great Rieslings are looking for the cooler years, like 2019, like 2017. And those years are absolutely extraordinary, because in the case of Riesling, you want that zippy, fresh, bright acidity, and the warmer the climate, the warmer the year, that the acidity is going to diminish as time goes on. And also, as that acidity is coming down, the sugar is going up. When that sugar ferments and turns into alcohol, it's going to have a higher alcoholic content than what I'm ideally looking for. So I'm looking, Mosel Rieslings are my inspiration. When they're fresh, they're bright, they have the minerality, and then you play with the residual sugar as required. That's what I like with the Roberts block. Like I've in the past had 2 other Rieslings, one called Grace's Dry Riesling that was bone dry, no residual sugar to it whatsoever. So that was kind of set as to what happens with that wine. The other one is Riesling Loved by Lou, which is a semi-dry style. And the style of that one is pretty much set as well. Like it needs to have a certain level of sweetness for that customer to enjoy that wine. But the Roberts block has always been one that I've been able to play with. So I can see what the acidity is, see what the flavors are, and play with the residual sugar accordingly. So either I stop the fermentation before it ends, or just let it go a little bit past, and then past what I want with residual sugar, and then top it up a little bit with some sugar afterwards. Like it changes a little bit every year based on how that fermentation is going. But that one's my winemaker license to play a little bit, while the others are fairly defined.
Yeah. So Robert's block, what's the size of the vineyard in Robert? What was the size of the block we're talking here? Because it's usually 250 cases in a good year. I mean, this is small batch wine in the spectrum of, like, compared to Love by Lou, where you're going to make from like maybe 450 all the way to 600 cases. Robert's block, it's much tinier, very, very different approach, right?
Absolutely. And so the Roberts block is from the oldest block of Riesling on the property. It's planted in 1994. It's clone 21 on SO4 rootstock. And so 94 was the year I graduated from Guelph University. So my father planted that vineyard to celebrate my graduation. It's kind of neat. It's named after my great-great-great-grandfather, Robert Staff. And he was the original settler of our property 200 years ago. So hence, so it's named after Robert Staff. And it's from the oldest block of Riesling, hence why it's called Roberts Block Riesling, and the Riesling being the variety, of course. So, and so it's the vineyard that's like directly straight north of this house. It goes from the house to the edge of the escarpment. It's interesting as you get towards the north end of the vineyard. It's just a bit of a mess down there. It is just because like there's such little soil that even the posts don't pound all the way in before they hit the rock or the the end posts to get the anchor wires in. Like it just hit bedrock. So we know that the roots of the vine are literally on the rock of the escarpment, pulling up that minerality, that flint mineral steely note that likely directly comes from that limestone rock of the Niagara Escarpment. So it's a pretty special piece of property. And then so because of the climate, I don't make that wine every year, only in premium Riesling years, such as 2017, 2019. There was an 18, even though 18 was a hot year. I was able to harvest a little bit earlier before the acidity diminished too much. So, but there wasn't a 13, there wasn't a 14 or 15, there was a 16, 17, 18, 19, no 20, no 21, no 22, no 23, right? 23. So, I'm on the fence, so I'm not sure.
You still don't know about 23. You haven't pulled the pin yet, eh?
No, actually, we'll be doing a tasting tomorrow to decide whether 23 will exist or not, because I need to make the labels to put it on the bottle. But it is still separated in the tank, and I'll have to be a little critical tomorrow and make some tough decisions. So,
yeah. My God, do you think if I jump on an overnight plane and I can be there for them in the morning, maybe being part of that tasting will be something.
For sure. You're welcome. Come on in.
So that's the story of the Roberts block, and like you mentioned, no 20, no 21, no 22. What a great opportunity right now to stock up on these Roberts blocks. So 18, 19. I mean, these wines don't have a ton. You don't have a ton left in inventory anyway. So these are tiny quantities. I want to go back to 2008 because 2008 was not named Roberts Block. You were just starting the winery at that point, right?
You got it. Yeah. So I just called it semi-dry Riesling at that point. I only made one. I was, just reeling between starting the winery. I was consulting to another winery. I was teaching at the college, at Niagara College, teaching winemaking. And so I just let's just get it in the bottle. I genuinely couldn't come up with the concepts as to how I was going to name the wines. And so semi-dry Riesling, on it goes. And so it was interesting. So I bottled the wine, and it was 1,000 cases, which is a lot for a small winery, especially when you're first starting out. And so I loaded up the transport truck, and it was heading off to the warehouse. And my father was driving it, because we had a small transportation company at the time. And I thought to myself, as it was pulling away, I had two ultimate, diverse, strong emotions. One was ultimate pride of like, I own every bottle of wine in that truck, right? Like, wow. And then the one that was like, oh my God, I have to sell every bottle of wine in that truck, right? So, two very diverse things.
Yeah.
So my idea at the time was, I'm like, you know what? I've got a lot. So I'm going to take the first pallet rather, that was bottled, and I wrapped it in cellophane, like 9 layers of cellophane. And I thought I was going to put it back in the warehouse and just forget about it. And on my 10th anniversary, 15th anniversary, I don't know, somewhere in there, I'll pull the wine out and start to release it again. So it's been fun. The only time I've really released it is with you, for all the different various clubs that we've done. The odd client here and there has come in to say, hey, what you have that's older, and be able to pull stock from there. So the wine's holding up absolutely beautifully. And it was my grandmother's favorite wine when I started the winery, and her name was Lou. And after she passed away, I thought, you know what, I'm naming this wine after her, and hence why it's called Riesling Loved by Lou, because she genuinely loved that wine. And then that's when the light went on. It's like, hey, wait a minute, I've got an idea. All the white wines are going to be named after people in my family, and all the red wines are going to be named after things on this property. And when you have a property that's over 200 years, there's a lot of things, there's a lot of stuff around. So there's no lack of names for the reds. The whites, after 7 generations, are not really that prolific, so I'm kind of running out of names. But anyway, not that I've really helped out that cause, but anyway, being childless.
So
anyway.
The reds are named after, on your portfolio, the reds are named after a place, and the whites are named after people, I believe, correct?
You got it. So hence Riesling Loved by Lou. Grace's Dry Riesling was named after my great-grandmother Grace, who had to raise 2 headstrong and hardy sons through the dry movement of Prohibition. So I thought, God, if anyone in her family needs a wine named after them, it has to be her. I don't make that wine every year either, and I haven't made it in a couple of years. And then I don't know, so there's the Lenny Pinot Grigio, the Louis Pinot Gris, Mabel's VCR, it's a Viognier Chardonnay Riesling blend that I'm almost sold out of, and so it kind of
that's the advantage to be the 7th generation of grape grower and all of that. So you have a lot of people behind you who made the path of where you're at. I mean, it's not a new project in your family. So that's a pretty cool thing. So 2008, and to me, the 2008 is one of the most stunning Riesling that I ever tasted. And I include in that Alsatian Riesling, German Riesling. I mean, I gave it a 95 points because the structure and the texture in that wine is absolutely, and is aging so gratefully. And just for people who are listening right now, the why Riesling age so beautifully when it's made with balance, because of the acid and because of the sugar. When these two components are in harmony, that's where you can go and age these wines forever, correct?
Oh, absolutely. There's something about Riesling and residual sugar that, I mean, you have aged Rieslings without residual sugar that it goes wonky somehow. Like it goes, it goes, the acidity seems to stick out even more, and the integration is lost. And while it goes more nutty and straw-like, and those fruit sensations dry out, maybe some of the body's texture with some of the body's missing too without that residual
sugar. Apart. It's falling apart without the little bit of residual sugar. I think that's what keeps the acidity like very well rounded, right?
Yeah. And it helps. It's making that much more palatable. It's funny. It's always a point of contention between assistant winemakers as time goes on, that they're always very keen to bottle the Riesling as dry as humanly possible. And like, no, it has to have residual sugar. And so actually there's one that was pretty adamant one time, and almost like, like not violent, but one step short of it. I'm like, no problem. We're going to bottle in 3 days. You just draw a bottle off the tank, take it home for dinner tonight, drink that bottle of wine with dinner, which is, something I often do as well before I bottle a wine, is just pull a bottle off the tank and have it with dinner, just to get that complete sensation to see, like, is this wine as drinkable as I believe it is? Because that's really where it needs to shine, is at a meal. And so inevitably, or eventually, so this assistant winemaker took the wine home. He came back the next day and went, yeah, you're right. It needs residual sugar. Just that acidity is just so much, like, it is enamel removing. It upsets your stomach. Like, it's amazing how the balance, like, physically, your body needs it. So, and that's what makes it so good with food and gives it the structure and body and texture. Yeah,
absolutely. And that, to me, that's when the texture meets the structure. That's where it takes it to beautiful to outstanding. And it's that meeting spot between the texture and the structure that makes it special. 2011 part also of that pack. It's a very exciting, also an exciting wine. We had some requests today. You need to let me know if you have maybe 1 cases of the 16 left somewhere, somehow in one corner of any spot. But we can take that conversation offline.
I'll take a look. I have an inventory right here, actually.
I know we had that conversation in the past. You're like, Carl, 16 is gone. But if you don't ask, you never know. There's a big fan of yours who really, really like the 16. He's like, can you please ask for me? So I'm doing it live now. Here you go. Comments here. Love.
I have. I just looked. There's 0.83 cases. So what's that? 7 bottles. Yeah, they're mine. No, not available.
Not available. There's none. Oh my God.
Sorry. But we do have 18 and 19 and 11. And the 11 is like, oh my God. It is so delicious. I'm loving that wine. It has a like a straw almond and cashew note to it.
Exactly. That nuttiness, right? And also that dry apricot who comes in at some point as well. But I always keep that flint. The flint still like really in the middle of that wine. So we had during the Pan Canadian, right? The night before the big event, we had 45, 50 people at our house for a beautiful barbecue. And someone read my cellar, and I had 1 bottle of the 2011 left, and that bottle got opened. And that's where people are really starting to look at each other. We're like, what is that? What is that? Oh my God. So yes, it's aging incredibly well at the moment. And sometimes these wines are peaks and valleys, right? They're not always in the same stage, but that 11 right now is absolutely in one of the up it's up curve right now, and it's really, really spectacular.
It's gorgeous, and that was kind of weird. So 2011, we had a lot of fruit that year. So I actually made 400 cases of Robert's Block that year. And after selling 200 of the cases, I was like, you know what, I can put the rest away until later. Well, this is later. And so especially when I'm like almost out of the 2019 Riesling. So I'm pretty happy that I can fall back on the 2011 to sustain me through until the 2024 is ready, or the 23 if I end up making it. But, it's you make sure when you make wines like that, they've just got to be right. But what kind of cracks me up, and we're kind of doing this a bit of self-reflection right now, and we're talking about residual sugar in the wines, like the way that 2008 is holding up so beautifully, and I'm loving the 2019 Love by Lou Riesling right now too so much, and then the 2020 is doing so well in the show circuit. It's like, maybe I've got a little bit of the wrong approach on the Robert's Block. Maybe they should be flipped around, or maybe they should be having the Robert's Block sweeter. I don't know, just things you have to be always thinking about as you're making and improving the wines. But anyway, I don't have an answer right now, but it's some of the thought processes along the way.
Well, I mean, what I love with Love by Lou, it's the price point, the value proposition, and that's where I'm at right now in the conversation. Because, I mean, to my opinion, it's fairly easy to find a great wine at $65, $70. I mean, it's not that easy to make it, but when you allow yourself a budget of triple the price at what you allow yourself a budget for a value wine, the room for mistake, it's much, much thinner. It's much narrower when you produce an $18 wine than the tool you get at your disposition to produce a $75 wine. So let's talk about Love by Lou. I mean, like at $18.95, okay, there's a big increase in pricing here between the 19 and the 20. We're going to $19.95. A big dollar, a buck increase for a wine. So I mean, this is minimal, and but the quality of the wine is incredible. So Love by Lou, let's talk to 2020, because I keep receiving notes and emails that almost every day there's a new hardware has been awarded to that wine. So please tell us a little bit. So the crown jewel is in Ontario. It's the Lieutenant Governor Award of Excellence, where the province allow only seven award of excellence for the wines of Niagara. Correct?
Yeah, so this was pretty extraordinary. So,
wow.
So what happens is there's the Ontario Wine Awards, where close to 500 wines get submitted yearly or annually to that competition. So this year for the award ceremony, which was about 2 weeks ago, Monday, we had an award ceremony, and news to us, super exciting. The 2020 Riesling Love by Lou received a gold medal. And so, getting a gold medal at Ontario Wine Awards is pretty tough, because traditionally it's been Olympic style medaling, where there's only one gold, one silver, one bronze per category. This year they opened up a little bit more, but some categories, like there was just no awards. So the best Sauvignon Blanc goes to nobody, that type of stuff. So actually, that's a bad example. There may or may not have been a Sauvignon Blanc. I don't remember. Anyway.
Marcel is about to reply, wait a minute, we just won gold for our Sauv Blanc.
Okay. The best Zinfandel goes to nobody. Yeah. There we go. That's
exactly.
So anyway, so this year there was 44 wines that received gold medals at the Ontario Wine Awards. So hooray. Awesome. So then what they do is they took the top 44 wines, although it got gold, and they went to a separate tasting that was performed. And so the wines were reviewed again solely by Master of Wine and Master Sommeliers at George Brown College. And so they spent a day pondering over these wines, and they have the right to give all 44 Lieutenant Governor Awards, but instead they whittled it down to their top 7. And so only 7 wines received the Lieutenant Governor's Award, and only this was the only Riesling, 1 Chardonnay, 1 Sparkling, 1 Merlot, 1 Meritage, 1 ice wine, and I'm missing one
Cap Franc. I'm sure there's a Cap Franc or a Pinot Noir.
Spot on. It was Pinot. It was top Pinot. The top Pinot. Yes. Yep. So, but to have the top Riesling when there was 4 or 5 gold medals at the Ontario Wine Awards for wine for Rieslings, and so yeah, just super excited to. I mean, and Riesling, the Riesling categories immensely competitive. Like there are beautiful Rieslings on the escarpment here. So to rise to the top of that is pretty special. So I'm humbled and so proud of the wine. Like I didn't do it, the wine did it. So
whoa. I mean, there's someone called a pick. Someone. I mean, wait a minute, Sue-Ann Staff. Like you deserve some credit in here. And what blows my mind, it's. You are in a category where wines goes all the way up to $50, $60 a bottle, and you won with that $19.95 price point. So that's extremely is special to me. So wow, congratulations! It's fantastic. So that's for Love by Lou. So in that pack, 4 back vintage, including the 2019, which was the Rockstar wine at the Pan Canadian. So 19 and 18, 94 points, Carl's Wine Club. The 2008 was 95 points, plus the 2 Love by Lou. So that's what we're offering this week. This is really, really exciting, all the way to Sunday. So thanks for doing that with us. It's really, really exciting.
Yeah, I know it's exciting. I love it. Love to be part of it. Love to spread the love of Riesling and to work with you folks as well. It's always just a joy.
It is a joy, and I mean, I think we're fairly similar here. We're like full with energy. We love telling the story, and working with you has just always been a treat. So, Sue-Ann, 45 minutes in, we did pretty well. I mean, wow. Like, come on, 45 minutes.
Wow.
I'm practicing for the Pan Canadian 2025. I've been put to test here, so.
And he's practicing because in about a week and a half, we're going to open 80 rosés?
85 rosés coming up for our rosé report coming up in July 6th. So that, by the way, I think we're going to have one of your wine as well, one of your rosé, the Fancy Farm Girl, I believe, right?
Fancy Farm Girl. Okay, so just to warn you, but when you're talking with the wine, because it's called Fancy Farm Girl Foxy Pink, and you have to be foxy in Foxy. However you do it with your voice or attitude or shoulders or whatever, or else there's a $5 fine. I'll be watching and I'll be like getting the ticker tape going, like Carl, $50. 10 mistakes times $5 each, 50 bones.
Geez, okay. Well, we'll put the transfer in. I might send you $100 in advance, so we'll make sure that.
It's like the swear jar, but different. It's the Foxy Pink jar.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Thanks for joining us. Make sure that you say hi to Rob for us. We'll chat later this week. Okay. So Carl's Wine Club and Sue-Ann Staff are partnering up this week. Mira, do you have any question for Sue-Ann before we let her go?
No, I mean, Rob asked a great question earlier in the VIP group. What makes the bench so special, or what makes the your location so special for the escarpment so special for Riesling? You kind of answered it throughout, though, didn't you? So
yeah, I think I did between the climate, the soil, the rock, and yes. Oh, I'm loving these pictures from when you folks were here last year.
It was awesome, right?
You can, okay, so this picture, you have to look closely, you guys. You have to get your magnifying glass out, but it's worth it because on the plate in front of Sue-Ann, I do believe is one of her world famous grilled cheese sandwiches. And I mean world famous. Like she makes.
Oh yeah, it is. It is.
It is. I
know we kind of sad that
too, but
I remember kind of sad that I talked so much and was being the hostess, the mostest, that I really didn't eat any of the grilled cheese. I'm like, oh, what? Oh my, they're amazing. It's Quebec mozzarella with different stuffings inside and different premium cheeses inside, and on top is olive oil and butter with a nice dusting of Parmesan cheese on the outside too. So then there's always something, a little extra je ne sais quoi on top, whether it's like a different marmalade or like onion marmalade or peach jam or
A thin slice of green apple. Mira still talk about that one. Absolutely. Yeah. So thank you very much, Sue-Ann. Greatly appreciate your time. It's Sue-Ann Staff and Carl's Wine Club together this week. So rock on.
Awesome.
Thanks, Sue-Ann. Have a good
Thank
one.
You. It's been fun as always. Be well.
Thank you.
Okay, good night.
Thank you. Good night. Oh, so much fun always. I can't believe we're having the Canadian next year at her place. That's going to be like a blast. That's going to be amazing.
I mean, I just want to fast forward right away and then just being ready to go. I mean, it's just too exciting. I was a little like, I felt like I had a long day and I felt like low energy before the interview. And now I feel like I'm rocking. I'm ready for another 10 hours.
She always brings the zing.
Absolutely.
And then the storm outside our place is completely gone. It was literally looked like hell about 5 minutes ago. We didn't know if the stream would hold. We didn't know if the weather, like there was winds, hail, monsoon, and now it's sunny. I bet there's a rainbow somewhere. It's kind of crazy.
That's fantastic. I'm glad to hear. So we can go outside and smell the nice fresh rain, and that will be awesome. I think so. So I just, man, I feel so energized right now. I had a couple sip of the 2019 Robert's Block Riesling, 94 points. That is the Rockstar wine of the Pan Canadian. I mean, Rockstar among rock stars, man. Like that lineup was filled with incredible wines, all around 94 points. But geez, that one shine. And like we mentioned during the interview, was so different from what the BC wine drinkers are used to in terms of Riesling. I mean, the flavor profile absolutely knocked people out. Like people were like, "Oh my God!" That was the big talk of the show. So 19, 18, 11, and 08. Those are the 4 back vintage Rieslings. And keep in mind, none of the Roberts Block will have been made between 20 and 23. So it's time to stock up on very special Riesling, and we have the 2 more approachable, under $20, the Loved by Lou, and the 2019 and 2020 was collecting every single hardware possible along the way.
On that 2020, which by the way, was going to arrive today, has not. So you'll probably see us live tomorrow. There's 2 reasons to be live tomorrow. I mean, one is the 2020 Loved by Lou is probably going to get here tomorrow. And we will let you guys know what we think.
Yeah.
And it is this guy's birthday tomorrow, so
geez,
good
I guess so. We might have a special
happy birthday.
We might have a special Chardonnay open. I don't know.
Ooh, maybe 1 or 2. That would be nice. That would be nice.
Yeah. So no, incredible offer this week with Sue-Ann back vintage. Unfortunately, Vicky, I'm so sorry, there's no 2016 available. And a little bit like the comments we saw on Facebook, it's a little bit your fault as well, Vicky. You ordered so many of them in the last year and a half that you absolutely drained out the reserve. There's no more reserve, Vicky. None. They all transited by your place and your boat. So it's completely done. Sorry about that. So I also have a couple of Cabernet.
Another birthday coming up for Lisa, July 8th. Need to figure out what to drink. Haha. Yes, that will be fabulous.
Yeah. I have a 2 Cab Franc
here in my glass. Tell me.
2 Cab Franc in the glass. The one with the Pinot, let's see, the Pinot shaped glass is from the Thompson River Valley, out of Kamloops. So it's a Monte Creek Cab Franc, the 2022 Living Land Series at $26.99. So beautifully balanced, fresh and crisp with a little bit of touch of wood in there. I really, really love that. I'm saying that because when I had my health scare, that was the week that we were supposed to release our offer with Monte Creek. Unfortunately, we had to postpone it because it's pretty hard to put a wine offer from the ICU bed. So it was not possible that week, and I had a chat with Monte Creek Winery today, and we have rescheduled for July the 22nd. So right when we come back from vacation, there's going to be Monte Creek, and I'm doing tasting notes right now, and that Cabernet Franc is absolutely fantastic. I love Cab Franc from the Thompson River Valley, all the Kamloops. Great $26 wine. It's make me think like, man, I think we're producing world-class Cabernet Franc, not only in Ontario, but all over the freaking country. So yeah, this is Kamloops. And the other one is from Domaine Caylus. So a $33 Cabernet Franc, but including tax. So these two Cab Franc are a couple dollars apart. And I just thought that putting this side by side, Domaine Caylus will be in our lineup in September. Can't wait to feature the wines of Kelly Mason, one of the absolute rock star winemaker in Niagara. They are, one of the very known and sought after winery. One of their Chardonnay de Cuvée Champlain was rated in my top 5 of our 112 Chardonnay marathon that we've done 3 weeks ago. So Domaine Caylus, their Cabernet Franc here. So yes, Mira?
Did you say that this glass is my Caylus?
No, no, this glass is your Monte Creek.
No way.
Yeah, it is. Yes,
really
it is.
Special on the nose on that one.
Yeah, a little bit more woody on the nose, but I mean, so well integrated. There's a little bit of in the Monte Creek, that Black Forest cake coming out, some dark cherry as well. Very well balanced. You look at the color; it's a little lighter in color. The Caylus is a little lighter in color, but what a great concentration for the Monte Creek. So yeah, two very, very good wine for under $33 for both of them, and 2 wines who are coming in our offering in the next couple months. So next on deck for Carl's Wine Club will be after Sue-Ann. We are taking a break next week because it's Canada Day. Everyone is away. Everyone is camping. Everyone is on a boat.
It's also our 4-year anniversary. So we hope to roll out some fun club event news as well.
Yes, because we have a date for the Carl's Wine Club, the Members' Choice Award, BC Winery of the Year and Ontario Winery of the Year. We have dates now, September 21st at Riverstone. We're going to do a 2-part evening, a VIP library vertical from a flagship wine, and we're going to do a progressive tasting in the vineyard, in different spots of the estate, moving all the way back to the winery. So that's a super cool thing. And we're going to do with Thomas Batchelder, Thomas and Mary, the last weekend of August. We're going to do a vineyard tour where we're going to travel all the main vineyard that Thomas bottles his wine. So from Grimsby Hillside to Wismer, Foxcroft, Bayou, and maybe also Laurie Vineyard. So we're going to go to probably 4 different single vineyard with Thomas on a transportation and taste these wines in each and every vineyard that he sources from. It's never been done before. Thomas was absolutely floored with the idea. He was like, holy shit, I've made wine all over the world and no one ever thought of doing that. This is freaking fantastic. So Thomas is really excited to do that. So it's going to be absolutely, I can't wait for that. So you can expect.
And you just said something funny because I said we should go to all Thomas's, main vineyards, and you're like, no, I don't think we can get to more than 2 realistically, and that's probably a rational thought. But I love that you've changed your tune and you're thinking, let's go to as many as we can.
You are pushing me at my extreme limits, but always on the best side of my limits. So, I mean, I owe you a lot. You let me go overtime, an hour and a half overtime during the Pan Canadian without.
I didn't let you. They told me I had a taser and it did not work. It was imaginative. It was a fake one. Derek, yes.
So this weekend we are hoping to release these tickets, and we're gonna have hopefully the new VIP unlimited package available for people as well, because the archive is up and running. Everyone is having access to it now, but it's gonna become private very soon. So yes.
Of tasting notes, archive of tasting notes.
Yes, you are right. Anyway, so what else do we want to talk about?
I mean, we did an adulting win tonight, Carl. I think we need to pat ourselves on the back for this. You all can be witness. Every Wine Wednesday, we have fun with you guys. We drink some wine, and then after we're like famished and nobody wants to cook. Yes, so Daryl, I'll put the link right here. It's up, but everyone can see it right now. And we're just working out the search function, but it's going to go back behind the paywall very shortly. And we have some plans for those of you that have been missing the archive from your VIP Limited membership. We'll send a note to say how we'll make that up for you. But here's the archive link. And so we did an adulting win today. We put a chicken pot pie in the oven.
Not one, but two. I put both in.
You were hungry. Yes, before we started, because guess what? Chicken pot pie is ready in like an hour from frozen. So like, how brilliant is that? I think Wednesdays will be our chicken pot pie night.
Something like that. And I think there's still some 2019 Sue-Ann's Roberts block here. So with the chicken pot pie will probably be very delicious, and a splash of either Monte Creek Cabernet Franc and Domaine Calis Cabernet Franc Tradition. So here, oh, by the way, we tasted last night, a Roussanne from Church and State from the 2019 vintage that I thought was fairly darn freaking delicious. It was really worth mentioning it, I thought. So,
yeah, that was. Yeah. So what happened is the Decanter Awards came out in the last week, the Decanter Awards. I think that, I mean, we have to look at the history of it. I'm pretty sure that the most Canadian wines ever got Decanter Awards this year. It was something like 360 or so Canadian wines that got Decanter Awards this year. It's growing every year, which is fantastic to see. And one of the top three, I believe, was the 2020 Roussanne from Church and State. And we thought it got something like, 96 or 97 points. We were like, what? So we checked our cellar. We had a 2019 there. So that's why we opened it, just to see. And it was pretty spectacular.
Yeah, it's really delicious.
Yeah, it was pretty delicious. So we'll have to get our hands on that 2020 that won the big award.
Yeah, just to see what's going on, but also planning like mentioning with Sue-Ann, July 6th, the Rosé Report. We're going to be live for, I don't know how many times. I said 6 plus hours, tasting 85 so rosés from all over the country. Funny enough, when I call my friend Jan, who usually helps me out during these marathon, I say, Jan, July 6th, you available? We're going to have around 85 rosés. I might need your help. He said, Carl, last time you tell me there was going to be 85 wines, we ended up with 115, so I don't believe you anymore. I showed up to your place and there was 115, not 85.
But nobody knew that. It was a surprise to everyone, including ourselves. Because
yeah, exactly. He literally saved my ass that day. Glad that he got me organized. It was fantastic for the Saturday Marathon. But we're getting a lot of great response from all wineries. I already got like a bunch from Ontario, and BC's response are getting are fairly positive, so it should be a pretty spectacular rosé. But we're seeing a lot of weird stuff right now, especially in BC. BC usually release their rosé very early, like the 2023 vintage usually will be released early 2024, more and more, like we've seen that in the past. April, that's when you see the 24s being released. This year, not so much. Not so much. We've seen wineries holding on to their rosé as long as possible with what everything's happening. So I'm having more difference.
Deep freeze.
If you haven't heard more yet, difference in vintages.
Probably not getting a 2024 vintage, so that's why.
Yeah, so I'm getting lots of different vintages here for the report, but it's going to be interesting to see. And now there's also potential aging potential. I mean, to the rosés to see if there's anything left from this year to carry over next year. So you're going to get my opinion on which one has some aging potential that can be interesting for next year to hold on to. So it's going to be a fun one. We're going to have a couple of interviews that day. So July the 6th, we're going to start at 1 p.m. BC Pacific. So we're looking at 4 p.m. Eastern time. So hopefully I can finish before you folks from the Eastern time zone go to bed on July the 6th. That's going to be the Rosé Report or live marathon. Other than that, I mean, this is Sue-Ann Staff Week here at Carl's Wine Club. Not everything. It's exclusively Rieslings, back vintage. Yeah.
Rieslings.
So yeah. Woo, so that's it. We're gonna go get the pot pie, the chicken pot pie out of the oven, and we'll go from there. Mira Boucher, thank you so very much for another great Wine Wednesday.
Carl Boucher.
And everyone, Canadian wine lovers, Carl's Wine Club members, all of you guys across the country. See you tomorrow for Love by Lou live tasting. Cheers.